My wife wanted an open marriage. She was already cheating. You know, people always ask me why I don't trust easily anymore. I'm about to tell you a story that'll make your head spin. This actually happened to me, and honestly, I'm still processing it all. So, there I was thinking I had the perfect marriage. Me and my wife had been together for 8 years, married for five of those. We met in college, did the whole white picket fence dream, bought a house, the works. I thought we were solid, like rock solid. Boy, was I wrong. It all started about 6 months ago when my wife began acting different. Not like crazy different at first, but just little things that made me scratch my head. Well, that's how it usually starts with the little things, but you don't quite pick up on them right away. She started caring way more about her appearance than usual. I'm talking hitting the gym at 5 in the morning, buying new clothes every week, getting her nails done religiously. Now, don't get me wrong, I love seeing her looking good, but it was such a dramatic shift from the woman who used to roll out of bed in sweatpants and call it a day. Then there was the phone thing. My wife used to leave her phone everywhere: kitchen counter, coffee table, bathroom sink. Suddenly, that thing was glued to her hand like it contained nuclear launch codes. It seems that all the videos I have narrated, it starts with that damn phone. She'd take it to the bathroom, keep it face down during dinner, and God forbid I even glanced at it when it buzzed. She'd snatch it up faster than a cat with a laser pointer. The late night started around the same time. Working late again, she'd text me. Now, my wife worked in marketing for a mid-sized company, and while I knew they had their busy seasons, this was becoming a 3 times a week thing. When I'd ask about these late projects, she'd get all vague and change the subject quicker than a politician dodging scandal questions. But here's where it gets interesting. My wife started talking about this guy from work. At first, it was just casual mentions. This guy said this guy thinks that. I didn't think much of it because, hey, we all have work friends, right? But then she started bringing him up more and more. Sometimes talking to your spouse about another person may seem harmless, but if they keep talking about the person all the time, pay attention. This guy was apparently some kind of fitness guru who convinced half the office to join his CrossFit gym. This guy had these amazing insights about life. This guy was so funny and intelligent. I'll be honest, something about the way she talked about this dude made my stomach twist, but I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. That's what they want you to think, isn't it? That you're crazy for noticing patterns. The real kicker came about 3 months ago. We're sitting on the couch watching Netflix, and out of nowhere, my wife drops this bomb on me. She says, "Honey, I have been thinking about something, and I want to discuss it with you." The way she said it, all serious and formal, I knew whatever was coming wasn't going to be about what to have for dinner. She starts going on about how she's been reading articles and watching videos about open marriages, how some couples find it refreshing and it can actually strengthen their relationship, how it's about trust and communication and exploring yourself as an individual within the marriage. I'm sitting here thinking, where the hell is this coming from? Yeah, when they mention open relationship, they already have their eyes set on someone. When I asked her why she was suddenly interested in this, she gave me this whole spiel about personal growth and not wanting to feel like she was missing out on experiences. She said she loved me, but felt like maybe we'd gotten too comfortable, too routine, that maybe we both needed to explore what else was out there to appreciate what we had. Now, I've always considered myself a pretty open-minded guy, but this hit me like a truck. I mean, we'd never talked about anything like this before. Our relationship had always been monogamous, and I thought we were both happy with that. When I told her I needed time to think about it, she got this look in her eyes, not angry, but disappointed. Am I missing something? What the fuck is wrong with monogamy? Is it a disease or something? Being with one person? Like I was being closed-minded or something. Over the next few weeks, she kept talking about it. She'd show me articles about successful open marriages, mention couples she'd heard about who were doing it. She even suggested we could start small, maybe just go on dates with other people without anything physical happening. The whole thing felt like she was trying to sell me a car I didn't want to buy. What really got to me was the timing. Here she was, suddenly working late all the time, suddenly caring about her appearance in ways she never had, suddenly talking about some guy constantly, and now she wants an open marriage. My gut was screaming at me, but every time I tried to bring up my concerns, she'd flip it around and make it seem like I was being paranoid or controlling. The breaking point came about 6 weeks ago. My wife told me she was going to a work happy hour on a Friday night. She said a few colleagues were celebrating someone's promotion and they'd probably grab dinner afterward. She'd be home late, probably around midnight or so. Nothing too crazy, right? But here's the thing. She was acting weird about it all day, kept checking her phone, changed her outfit 3 times, and was just generally anxious in a way that didn't match up with the casual work happy hour. When I asked if I could tag along, maybe meet her colleagues, she shot that down real quick, said it was just a small group and it would be awkward to bring me along. We all know that's suspicious, but most of the time your significant other wouldn't mind if you met their coworkers. So off she goes around 6, looking stunning, more dressed up than she'd been for our last anniversary dinner. I tried to distract myself with video games and beer, but it just didn't work. Around 9 p.m., I decided to text her. Just a casual, hope you're having fun kind of thing. Nothing. I tried calling around 10:30, straight to voicemail. Then I got a text around 11 saying, still at dinner, phone dying, love you. But here's what bothered me. My wife's phone never dies. She's one of those people who carries a portable charger everywhere and gets anxiety when her battery drops below 50%. She arrived around 2 a.m. and when I asked how it went, she was weird and evasive. Said it was fine, they had fun, nothing special to report. But she seemed like she was preoccupied with something, avoiding eye contact, giving short answers, going straight to the shower like she needed to wash the night off of her. I really couldn't keep doing this shit with her, wondering why her demeanor was shifting. I started searching for trackers, anything, but I didn't have time to follow her or sneak around and get into her things. I looked up private investigators and pulled the trigger. It was the best option for me. I hired her 2 days later. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's pretty extreme, right? But I'd read that around 85% of people who suspect their spouse is cheating turn out to be right, and all the signs were there. The behavior changes, the secrecy, the sudden interest in opening up our marriage. It all felt like she was already doing something and trying to make it retroactively okay. I hired her to do surveillance the next time my wife had one of her late work nights. She explained that she would follow her discreetly, document where she went and who she was with, and provide me with photographic evidence if necessary. She also said she would look into this guy from her work, do a background check, and see what she could find out about him. The opportunity came up the following Thursday. My wife texted me around 4 p.m. saying she had to work late again. Probably wouldn't be home until around 11. She'd grab dinner with some colleagues and then finish up a big presentation. The usual story. I called a private investigator and she was ready to go. The plan was simple. She would pick up surveillance from our house when my wife left and follow her wherever she went. She would document everything and report back to me with photo and video evidence. Private investigators is probably the profession that I did not think would take off and be so prevalent nowadays. My wife left the house around 6, and I got a text from the PI confirming she had eyes on her. Then I waited, and let me tell you, those next few hours were the longest of my life. I couldn't focus on anything, couldn't eat, couldn't watch TV, couldn't even scroll through my phone without my mind racing. Around 8 p.m., the private investigator called me. "You're going to want to sit down for this," she said. My heart dropped into my stomach. He told me that my wife never went to her office. Instead, she drove straight to an upscale subdivision about 30 minutes from our house. She was met in the driveway by a tall, athletic-looking guy who matched the description of the guy from her work. The PI said they embraced in a way that definitely wasn't just friendly colleagues, and then went inside together. But that wasn't even the worst part. The private investigator said she'd been doing some digging on this guy while she waited, and she found some disturbing information. Turns out this guy wasn't just some innocent work colleague. This guy had a history. He'd been involved in two other workplace affairs that the PI could document, both times with married women. One of those affairs had led to a messy divorce where the woman's husband had caught them together, and it became this whole workplace gossip. But it gets worse. The private investigator discovered that this guy was married, and his wife didn't seem to know. She also found out that this guy was also sleeping with another woman, but they didn't know about each other. This guy's wife traveled for her company and would be gone for weeks at a time. I felt sick. The private investigator stayed on surveillance for another 3 hours. She got photos of them leaving the house together around 10 p.m., going to a bar, getting drinks, being all intimate and cozy. She even got a video of them kissing in the parking lot before my wife got in her car to come home. She got me all the evidence I needed. Clear photos, timestamps, the whole 9 yards. By the time my wife came home, I was already gone. I had gone to a hotel for a few nights to clear my head and plan my next steps. To my surprise, my wife didn't really call. She sent a one-line text asking where I was, and that was it. When a woman does that, she doesn't call or text, she's probably mentally checked out. The next few weeks were nothing but lawyers and meetings. The private investigator's evidence was solid enough that my divorce attorney said we had a strong case. My wife tried to fight it at first, saying she wanted to work things out, but the trust was completely broken. How do you come back from something like that? The divorce was finalized about 2 weeks ago. My ex-wife moved out of our house and is staying with her parents while she figures out her next steps. As for the AP, well, let's just say the private investigator and I made sure his wife knew what he was doing while she was away. Looking back, I think the hardest part wasn't even the cheating itself. It was realizing that the woman I'd been married to for 5 years was this sneaky, that every time she came home from being with him, she was lying to my face, that every time she brought up opening our marriage, she was trying to manipulate me into giving her permission to do what she was already doing behind my back. But you know what? As messed up as this whole situation was, I'm actually grateful it happened. Better to find out now than waste more years of my life with someone who could deceive me so easily. And hiring that private investigator was probably the best money I ever spent. Without the PI's evidence, I might still be sitting here wondering if I was crazy or worse. I might have actually agreed to the open marriage and never found out what was really going on. The whole experience taught me that sometimes your gut instinct is the only thing you can trust. When something feels off, it usually is. When someone's behavior changes dramatically for no apparent reason, there's usually a reason you don't know about it yet. And when someone suddenly wants to change the fundamental rules of your relationship, especially when they've never expressed interest in that before, you might want to ask yourself what's really motivating that request. These days, I'm focusing on rebuilding my life. I kept the house, got a fair settlement, and I'm working with a therapist to process everything that happened. The AP got his ass handed to him in divorce court. He lost quite a bit. She took their new house, some of their savings, and most of the furniture. It's weird being single again after 8 years, but honestly, it feels better than being married to someone who is lying to me every day. And if you're watching this because you're in a similar situation, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate it. Don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking you're paranoid for noticing patterns. The truth might hurt, but living a lie hurts worse. But at the end of the day, she made the choice to start that affair, and she made the choice to try to manipulate me into accepting it retroactively. Some people might say hiring a PI wasn't necessary, but here's how I see it. When you're married to someone, you have a right to know if they're living a double life that could affect your health, your finances, and your future. If my wife had been honest with me from the beginning, none of this would have been necessary. The whole thing was like something out of a movie, except it was my actual life falling apart in real time. But sometimes you have to lose everything to realize what you actually want and deserve. And what I deserve is someone who's honest with me, someone who communicates openly about problems in our relationship instead of going behind my back to find solution. This is ridiculous to me. If you don't want to be committed to one person, don't get married. Live the single life. Don't jeopardize someone's mental health or physical health by cheating. Get out in the relationship. I'm not bitter anymore, just relieved that I found out the truth before I wasted any more years in a marriage built on lies. And hey, at least now I have one hell of a story to tell, right? If you made it this far, thanks for listening to my crazy life. And remember, trust your gut, folks. It's usually trying to tell you something important.